Hey there, my name is Brody and I've been in the military for a little over a year now. But even before the military, I remember being stressed. You see, what's funny about life is that, contrary to popular belief, stress is unavoidable. Everyone, no matter who you are, whether you're some homeless person on the street or you're Brad Pitt, where you are, whether you're in some cornfield in middle Iowa or on the beaches of Key West, Florida, or when it is, if it's the middle of winter or the blistering hot summer, everyone, anywhere, at any time, is susceptible to stress. So with stress being such a common part of our life, why isn't there more information on how to properly cope with it? You see, a lot of people who feel stress, whether they acknowledge it or not, turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms to deal with said stress. Those said coping mechanisms could be things like drugs and alcohol. It could be overeating or eating junk food. Yes, it could be turning to spending a lot of money to finances, right? It also could be avoidance. And within avoidance, there's that social media addiction. The point is that with stress being such a common thing in this life that everyone is to experience, why do people turn to unhealthy coping mechanisms? And what can we do to ensure that we cope with stress properly? You see, originally I was gonna make this video and I was starting to build this plot up, and I was gonna talk about, well, here are the 5 ways to ensure that you can cope with your stress properly. But then I realized that brings no value. You know why that brings no value? Is because I was looking over this list and I realized that yes, I've done all these methods because I've heard about all these methods. But I've leaned more towards the methods that I enjoy doing. That's the key right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's the key that you should all use to unlock that door to a better stress managed, better coping with stress life. You see, I asked ChatGPT for some coping mechanisms for stress, and I'm going to give you the things that ChatGPT gave me. ChatGPT told me to get more exercise, or to get exercise, to sleep more, because just 37 minutes less of sleep can make you more stressed, something like that. To turn to breathing techniques like box breathing. That 4x4, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds hold, 4 seconds out, 4 seconds hold. Yeah. Turn into a social support if you have a social network, right? Turn into journaling or having some periods of reflection, or just having better time management and discipline with your time. But I looked at this list and I realized, yeah, like I've done some of those things. But with some of the books that I've read and some of the information I've gathered online and some of the personal experience that I've had, is that not all of us are able to have a perfect morning routine where we get 8 hours of sleep and we have a time for journaling and a time for breathing and a time for exercise. Regardless of your position, if you're in the military or not, you're employed, you have a relationship maybe, kids, you may not have the time or the energy to do all of those things. You see, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about how I wanted to bring up a story about how I deal with my stress. How I deal with my stress is I exercise. And that was going to be so perfect because ChatGPT, the first thing that it told me to manage my stress was exercise, and oh, that's great, I love to exercise. And I was going to say, well, you should exercise more. But what if you don't like to exercise? If you're stressed 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, and you don't like to exercise, I cannot expect you to properly deal with your stress by stressing yourself out to do something you don't like to do. Not saying you shouldn't exercise, but I'm saying that if you've been looking around and trying these basic ways to deal with stress and they aren't working, I want you to try this. I want you to think about what you like to do. What do you like to do? You see, I love to get outside. And I love to ride this bike here. That's why it's sitting here, because this is my way that I cope with stress. I like to hike if I'm not biking. And I like to go to the gym. And in times of stress, in seasons of my life where I feel more stressed, I notice that I'm on this bike more, or I'm in the gym longer. What's your bike? In your life, what's that one thing that you know you like to do, that you turn to, that you crave? It may not be exercise, and for that, I can't expect you to be stressed out in exercise. It's going to bring you more stress. Do you like to work on cars? Do you like to read a good book? Do you like to cook? What do you like to do? You like to take pictures? You see, I can't expect everyone to follow this generic list, because in a lot of ways we're different. We're the same in the way that exercise and sleep and breathing and social support all will help us, but maybe we don't have that. We don't have that want or desire to exercise. We don't have a good social network. I want you to think about what you do have. You see, I'm in that position right now where I need to look and reflect and think about what it is I have. I just moved from a beautiful state with the mountains and the beaches. You can guess which one that is. To where I had beautiful hiking trails and beautiful paved roads to ride this bike on, and beautiful national parks to go explore, beautiful beaches to run on. That's how I deal with my stress. But I had to move away from that state. I can't control that. I can't control where I'm at right now and how it doesn't have mountains or beaches. But I can control how I react. That's the whole thing about stress that I feel we've been getting wrong this whole time, is we've been reacting wrong. We've been trying to avoid it instead of embrace it. If you're stressed, which you probably are, don't worry about those things that you can't control. Don't worry about whatever relationship issues right now you have, or you have a kid on the way, or your kids are about to go to college, you need to figure out how to pay for that. Don't think about the uncontrollables of life. Don't think about the uncontrollable of life that is stress. Think about what you can do, and make sure what you're doing is something you want to do, is something that adds to you, that brings you joy and fulfillment. You see, in the past video, I talked about free time. Talked about all of us have it, depending on, now that amount of free time, that's dependent on your situation, but I know there's a little bit floating around in there. You may have less free time, you have more stuff going on, and you're more stressed, but like I said in the free time video, and like I'm going to say again in here, cope with stress in a healthy way, and have that healthy way be something you enjoy doing. If it is exercise like it is for me, great. Do it. If you love to journal, if you love to pile up all these notebooks full of all your daily entries, do it. But if it wasn't on this list, that's okay. Do something you enjoy to do. You're stressed? Spend some time reading a book, if that's what you like to do. Are you into arts and crafts? Are you into crocheting or knitting? Whatever it is, do it. The list goes on and on of so many things that aren't unhealthy coping mechanisms. If you're not putting a bunch of drugs and alcohol in your body, putting a bunch of crappy food in your body, you're spending all day scrolling on social media, if that's not your coping mechanism, you're on the right path. If you don't know what your true coping mechanism is, take some time and find it. You guys, when I feel stressed, and maybe I don't recognize it at first, or I kind of try to ignore it, and I don't turn to my healthy coping mechanisms, I say maybe I don't need it, I don't want to do it, I start to fall in those unhealthy coping mechanisms. I have a history of going through periods, whether that was last night, I was just scrolling on YouTube, all those YouTube shorts, scrolling, brain rotten. And that only made me more stressed. Take some time. Think about what it is you like to do. Maybe you have that answer already. If you already know how you cope with stress, if you already have your way, just like I have my bike here, I want you to comment it down below. I want to know how you deal with stress. Because like I said, it may not be on that list. You may not say I go and get exercise, but if it is, I want to hear about it. I want to hear about how you, brother, I want to know about how you cope with stress. Maybe I can add it to my sheath of arrows of stress fighting tools, stress coping mechanisms. I'd love to hear them. Otherwise, that's it for today's video. If you liked this video, if you liked the little bit of advice I had, maybe the viewpoint, whatever it is, subscribe, and don't forget to comment your way you deal with stress. I'll be reading all those comments. That being said, have a great day.